Meghan Markle just got digitally assassinated, and she's absolutely losing it. Picture this. You're scrolling through the royal website, that ice-cold digital scoreboard of who matters and who doesn't, when boom, Princess Lilibet's profile has straight up vanished. Poof. Gone. Still technically in the line of succession, sure, but her personal page? Scrubbed cleaner than a Kardashian's search history. Meanwhile, allegedly, Meghan's pacing the marble floors of Montecito like a caged leopard, phone death-gripped in one hand, legal pad in the other, trying to figure out how everything went sideways this fast. This isn't just petty royal shade. This is warfare with a crown on. Let's keep it real, though. The palace has played these digital games before. Remember when Harry and Meghan's profiles got yanked from the front page without warning? 1 minute they're there, next minute they're not. Then suddenly they're back like some glitchy accident. Classic royal gaslighting, honestly. But this time hits different. It's been hours, and Lilibet's page isn't just missing, it looks deliberately deleted. Someone high up clearly said, "Make her disappear," and meant it. Here's where things get absolutely unhinged. Insiders whisper this nuclear move stems from that birth certificate drama. You know, the one with the Colorado area code instead of California? Yeah, that's still haunting Meghan like a bad TikTok that won't stop showing up on your FYP. Add in that bizarre twerking video she posted while heavily pregnant, belly bouncing like a basketball looking Seuss as hell, and suddenly we're not talking royal gossip anymore. We're talking about receipts, documentation, and the kind of truth that could blow up a monarchy. Meghan's camp is crying foul, claiming she's being targeted unfairly. But behind those gilded palace doors, sources are whispering that the royals want proof. Real, actual, hospital-grade proof. Not Instagram stories or curated photo ops, proper birth documentation with signatures, stamps, and witnesses who can't be bought. The palace? Radio silence. Classic move. But make no mistake, the pressure's coming from somewhere high up the food chain. Word is, Prince William's the one quietly pushing for answers. And honestly, if anyone's got reason to demand the truth, it's him. He's not just Harry's brother anymore. He's the heir apparent. And this mess is starting to look like a constitutional crisis wrapped in celebrity drama. Think The Crown meets Real Housewives, but with actual consequences for the British government. This isn't family tea anymore. It's about legitimacy, succession, and keeping the monarchy from turning into a Netflix show that writes itself. And Meghan? She's allegedly gearing up for war. Rumors are flying that she's threatening legal action, claiming the palace has no right to publicly humiliate her daughter by scrubbing her digital presence. But here's the thing about royal titles. They're not participation trophies. They're granted and revoked at the monarch's discretion. Charles could literally wake up tomorrow and strip Harry of everything. No more Duke, no more HRH. Just plain old Henry Mountbatten Windsor trying to figure out his LinkedIn profile. What's making this worse for Meghan is her apparent belief that this is all retaliation. For what exactly? The Oprah nuclear bomb interview? The Netflix deal that painted her as Hollywood's patron saint of victimhood? Maybe. But mostly it's those birth rumors that won't die. Royal officials allegedly want names. The doctors who delivered Archie and Lilibet. That's standard protocol for royal births. We've seen it for generations. Names go on an easel outside the palace in black and gold, all official and transparent. So far, Meghan hasn't provided any. Not one. And that silence is getting louder by the day. People following this saga have been asking the same question that's keeping royal watchers up at night. Why won't Meghan just clear this up? If everything was legit, why not drop the birth certificates, name the doctors, and move on? But here's where things get properly sketchy. When Archie was born, there was no public easel outside the palace. No official notice, no smiling photo op with the traditional red blanket on hospital steps. What we got instead was a heavily filtered photo in some random hallway and vague statements about where and when he arrived. It's giving witness protection program, not royal birth announcement. And Lilibet, even more sus. No known medical staff, no listed hospital, just a PR announcement and a spin machine working overtime to make it sound normal. There's a theory gaining serious traction that's absolutely wild, but somehow starting to make sense. Meghan might not be the biological mother of either kid. Sounds totally unhinged, right? But the people pushing this aren't random conspiracy theorists scrolling Reddit at 3 a.m. They're pointing to legitimate inconsistencies that are harder to ignore. Like that Colorado address on Lilibet's birth certificate. Why would someone allegedly born in California have documentation pointing to Colorado? And why was the section listing Doria's mother, Meghan's grandmother, left as unknown? That's not a clerical error. That's deliberate omission, and it's weird as hell. Now mix in the persistent rumors that Meghan had a hysterectomy years ago, possibly during her marriage to Trevor Engelson, and suddenly the surrogate narrative doesn't sound completely bonkers. Surrogacy isn't a crime, obviously, but when you're part of the royal bloodline, transparency becomes non-negotiable. The rules are strict, and the palace doesn't care if it's controversial. They care if it's constitutional. If these kids aren't biologically tied to the royal bloodline, it throws the entire succession into chaos. And Meghan, for all her love of privacy and control, isn't helping her case by staying silent and hoping everyone just forgets about it. What's actually ironic is that Meghan used to brag about breaking tradition, being different, rewriting what it meant to be royal. But you can't rewrite biology. You can't outmaneuver centuries of protocol by just going quiet and calling everyone else racist or unhinged when they ask basic questions. People want answers. The royal family, for once, seems to be quietly demanding them too. And from what palace insiders are saying, this time they're not backing down. Meanwhile, Prince Harry looks like a man who walked into the wrong movie. Publicly, he's said absolutely nothing, not one statement defending Meghan or clarifying the situation. Some say it's because he's genuinely exhausted by the circus. Others believe he's slowly distancing himself from a lie that's gotten too big to manage. Because if it comes out that both kids were born via surrogate and they never disclosed it, especially while claiming royal legitimacy, the fallout would be massive. Not just reputational, constitutional. The royal website, which seems like a simple list of names and titles, is actually one of the most politically charged tools the palace has. You get a slot there only if your status is completely undisputed. So Lilibet disappearing from the site while still being listed in the line of succession? That's a warning shot. It's palace speak for "we're watching. Fix this." And still, Meghan seems convinced that public sympathy will shield her. She's rolling out friendly media interviews, curating her image as a hands-on mom, showing up in soft pastels with that practiced smile, all while completely ignoring the fundamental issue: where are the records? Where are the facts? Because no matter how curated the aesthetic gets, the monarchy runs on documents, not vibes. And right now, Meghan's filing cabinet looks suspiciously empty. The pressure cooker in Montecito is absolutely screaming right now, and Meghan knows it. Behind the walls of their sprawling estate, she's allegedly rallying every weapon in her arsenal. Legal team, PR advisors, and whatever media allies are still willing to go to bat for her. She's convinced this isn't just about a website profile. To her, it's personal warfare. A calculated attack designed to humiliate, destabilize, and strip away whatever royal recognition she still desperately clings to. And honestly, she's not totally wrong. The removal of Lilibet's profile is symbolic as hell. But in the royal world, symbols are literally everything. What Meghan doesn't seem to fully grasp is how deeply the monarchy cares about optics backed by ironclad protocol. Everything must look pristine, because behind the curtain, it usually isn't. Meghan tried to play that game, half royal, half Hollywood, and it worked for a while. But now that the glossy press tours have faded and public curiosity has shifted from fascination to skepticism, she's left with a story full of holes and a growing pile of questions that won't go away. People don't just want fairy tales anymore. They want receipts. VR. The birth narrative has become absolutely central to everything. Who delivered these children? Where was the process even remotely traditional? And more importantly, why go to such extreme lengths to hide basic information that should be public record? British royal births have always followed the same script for centuries. Photo outside the hospital, names on record, official announcements with hospital details, all documented, archived, and verifiable by anyone who cares to look. But for Archie and Lilibet, we got blurry phone calls, vague location hints, and now the slow digital erasure of any trace of Lilibet from the official family tree. There's also those uncomfortable whispers about bloodlines that keep getting louder. Meghan's family background has become a hot-button topic, not because of who she is, but because of what's been deliberately omitted or rewritten. Reports about distant relatives, potential half-sibling marriages in her lineage, and strange blank spaces on genealogy records have only added fuel to this fire. Again, these aren't new topics, but they've been consistently brushed aside, repackaged, or buried beneath PR distractions. That strategy might work for a regular celebrity, but for someone with royal ambitions, it's a ticking time bomb that's about to go off. And wait till you hear what's happening behind palace doors right now. The monarchy is allegedly pivoting, low-key but decisively. Charles has stayed mostly silent, but insiders say he's monitoring absolutely everything with the intensity of a hawk watching field mice. William, on the other hand, is reportedly completely fed up, not necessarily with Meghan personally, but with the endless drama that seems to orbit her like a toxic asteroid. He knows how fragile the institution is right now, post-Elizabeth. There's no room for spectacle or uncertainty. Every inch of legitimacy matters, and that means pressure will keep mounting behind the scenes until someone, Meghan or Harry, finally coughs up the full truth. The palace machine is also allegedly working overtime to distance itself from this mess. Sources whisper that staff have been instructed to treat any Sussex-related queries with maximum caution. No off-the-record comments, no hints, no accidental slips. They're treating this like a diplomatic crisis, which, let's be real, it basically is. Because here's what people don't fully understand. The British monarchy isn't just a family with fancy hats. It's a constitutional institution that affects government, Commonwealth relations, and international diplomacy. When questions arise about succession legitimacy, it's not just gossip. It's a potential constitutional crisis that could affect millions of people. If Meghan really wants to hold on to any remaining public goodwill, she'll need more than curated interviews and staged photo ops. She'll need documentation, proof, and perhaps the one thing she's never willingly given, complete transparency. The longer this drags on, the more people lean into the worst-case scenario. That Lilibet's profile wasn't taken down by accident, it was deliberate. A signal that until the palace gets confirmation, real, legal, medical confirmation with hospital letterhead and witness signatures, she's not getting a place on the official stage. And here's the brutal truth. Meghan's window for controlling this narrative is rapidly closing. Each day that passes without clarification, each interview where she dodges basic questions, each PR move that prioritizes image over substance just makes the whole situation look more suspicious. The royal family has survived scandals before, divorces, affairs, even abdications. But they've never faced a situation where the legitimacy of heirs was questioned on this scale. The stakes are astronomical, and the pressure is mounting from all sides. As for Harry, his silence is almost deafening at this point. He once said he left the royal family for privacy and protection, but what's playing out now feels less like a man protecting his wife, and more like someone slowly backing away from a narrative he no longer believes in. If he truly wanted to shut this down, he could. One photo, one signed affidavit, one hospital name. But there's nothing. Just staged smiles and endless noise that says absolutely nothing of substance. And until that silence breaks, the palace will wait. Quiet, firm, and completely immovable. Because in the end, you can't strong-arm your way into royalty. You prove it with documentation and transparency, or you vanish from the page entirely. The clock is ticking, and Meghan's running out of moves. The question isn't whether she'll provide the proof everyone's demanding, it's whether she even can. No cap.